guys, it's Sam and Alex headed straight from your dorm room right before the prelim on November 15th.
Today we're going to talk to you about chicken anatomy and how to best prepare for that prelim.
This is the feathers. It's made out of keratin, and its purpose is for flight, insulation, and courtship display. Above are the ear and the earlobe, and also the comb and wattle. The comb and wattle are both growths that are on the head of the chicken. Comb is the growth at the top, and wattle is the growth at the bottom. Size and color depend on sex hormones. This is the oral cavity. As you can see, the bird has no teeth, and the tongue has limited taste buds. This will be discussed in the digestion. The euphragile gland is a sebaceous gland in avian species located dorsally at the base of the tail. Birds peck at this gland with their beak to release a waxy substance that has vitamin D precursors, which are activated when the feathers are exposed to UV light and start the preening process. The major organs involved in the urinary system are the kidneys, ureter, and the cloaca. This is a function to excrete water, remove nitrogenous waste, and regulate the osmotic fluid or acid-base balance of the bird's body. The avian kidney has two different types of nephrons, reptilian and mammalian. They may be different in the fact that they do not have a loop of Henle, reptilian, and are found only in the region of the cortex and have small renal corpuscles. The mammalian nephrons aid the formation of osmotic gradient and interstitial fluids of the medullary comb. The proximal and distal tubes of both types of nephrons secrete and reabsorb filtrate that has passed through the glomeruli and has entered the Bowman's capsule. The avian antidiuretic hormone helps control water permeability of collecting ducts. It is released to the posterior pituitary. Levels of secretion of this hormone are reduced when water is taken in excess, causing a dilute urine to be executed. The glomerular filtration rate is affected by a slight lack of water in the chicken's diet. The rate is greatly reduced possibly because of vasoconstriction of vessels supplying the reptilian-type nephrons. It is important to note that the chicken does not have a bladder. The waste passes back from the kidneys to the ureters and then empties in the cloaca, where it's passed back to the large intestine to allow additional reabsorption, then finally exit the body through the cloaca. Next, we'll be looking at the chicken muscles. The two muscles we'll be looking at right now is the pectoralis and the supracorticoideus. These muscles are involved with flight. The next muscles is the biceps brachii and the triceps brachii. The biceps brachii runs ventral to the humerus, and its two heads originate near the glenoid fossa and proximal end of the humerus, and it aids in the chicken in flexing its wing. The triceps brachii flexes the shoulder and extends the forearm, and the two heads originate from the scapula and the proximal humerus, and its insert is located at the Olkarian process of the proximal ulna. The next muscles we'll be looking at is in the thigh. The gluteus maximus covers most of the thigh and works to flex the hip and extend the knee and lower leg. The sartorius aids in the flexion of the hip and extension of the knee. The semitendinosus aids in the extension of the thigh, and the semimembranosus extends the thigh and also bends the knee. The quadriceps femoris aids in the extension of the thigh, and ambiens work toward bending the knees and allowing the feet to clasp a perch. Abductor longens causes the legs to move medial to the body, and adducts the thigh. With the gastrocnemius also is involved in the flexion of the knee and the extension of the foot, and the tibialis anterior assists in the flexion of the tarometatarsus in the forward direction.
Food is brought into the mouth by the beak, which also crushes the food. Chickens have a triangular tongue which has very few taste buds, thus the texture of the food is a more important distinguishing factor. The mouth also secretes saliva, which has digestive enzymes such as amylase, which begin the digestive process. After the mouth, the food moves into the esophagus, which is found dorsal to the trachea. The food follows the tract of the esophagus to the crop, which serves as a temporary storage structure of food and water. When the chicken is ready to begin digesting, the food moves to the proventriculus, where chemical digestion occurs. Here, hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes such as pepsin are added to the food mix and true digestion takes place. From the proventriculus, we move to the gizzard, which is very strong muscle to grind and mash food. In order to effectively grind and mash food, the chickens often consume pebbles that help contribute to this crushing process. After food is digested, it moves into the small intestine, where the liver releases bile to digest fats. An important organ between the small intestine is the pancreas, which secretes enzymes that primarily involved in protein digestion. Where small intestine and large intestine meet, there are two protruding pouch-like structures known as ceca, which are important for water absorption, and they also contain cellulase for cellulose digestion. Reproduction begins with the eggs developing in the ovaries. In this photo, you can see red follicles, which mean the eggs are still immature. These follicles could also be yellow, which represent maturity. The yellow color is from fat cellular pigments known as xanthophylls. When the hen is ready to ovulate, it's surrounded by a muscular structure known as the infundibulum, where it picks up the egg. The egg stays in the infundibulum for 15 to 18 minutes, then moves to the thick-walled structure known as the magnum. In the magnum, albumin and other proteins are secreted. After 2 hours, the oocyte moves to the isthmus, where the shell membranes are formed. After 1 to 2 hours, the oocyte moves to the shell gland or uterus, where the eggshell is formed. After 20 hours, the now completely formed oocyte moves to the vagina to lay the egg and moves from vagina to the quake and out of the body. In terms of male reproduction, the two main structures are the testes and the vas deferens, where spermatogenesis and sperm transportation take place respectively. The main organs for the chicken respiratory system are the glottis, which is located at the opening of the trachea, the syrinx, which is the organ of phonation, and the lung.
The heart is covered by the pericardial sacs, and it has 4 chambers: the right atrium and right ventricle, which receives deoxygenated blood from the body and sends it to the lungs, and the left atrium and left ventricle, which receives oxygenated blood from the lungs and sends it to the body.